When I was 5 years old, I found my first love, soccer. This was the beginning of a love hate relationship. Playing sports was one of the best moments in my life. I remember the joys of scoring my first goal and celebrating like I just won the lottery. I could never forget that day. It changed my whole life. At that moment, sports to me were like feeling euphoria. There was an innocence about playing sports. It took me somewhere else. It was like a form of meditation for me. Whenever I was stressed, I would play soccer or shoot some baskets outside, relieving me of the stress. This moment led to me playing an abundance of sports, including basketball, cricket, table tennis, and football. I began to watch sports, which became a daily routine. Eventually, I ranked every player by their stats, memorizing each layer of statistics, and using this knowledge to play fantasy games. Sports were growing as my primary interest and was a massive aspect of my life. It eventually consumed every moment of my life. I love sports, and I thought I would never hate it, but only keep loving it. But this was not the case. There was a period of time when I hated it, and every sport I watched an unethical behavior, whether it would be racism, exploitation of performance enhancement drugs, and match fixing. These moments absolutely ruined the passion I had for sports. It made it unenjoyable to watch or play. What's the point of watching sports when you already know who's going to win? Why watch a sport where one person has a clear physical advantage over the other? These moments therefore made me consider researching this topic and made me think maybe sports is not just a physical activity, it is a metaphor for our social lives. It can bring out the best and worst in humanity. Societies are about human interactions. Humans need to build a good bond, strong family, a shelter, and a peaceful environment. These are aspects of a good quality of life. But in any given society, there are bad actors who seek to maximize their own benefits, usually for money, by acting in a selfish or unethical manner. These tensions happen in any human realm, and I now see it in every professional sports. I see profits over players' well being, winning at all costs, and the exploitation of power. Sports is simply a platform, an arena, where good and bad behavior is on public display. What makes professional sports so different is that it is seen by a wider audience, and these athletes are idolized by many children. Due to this, sportsmanship is important for athletes to demonstrate to their fans. When athletes go out of their way to support their rival teams, it can positively influence their fans and their communities. Professional sports is powerful in shaping the moral compass of society. Recently, Cristiano Ronaldo's wife, Georgina Rodriguez, gave birth to twins, one boy and a girl. But sadly, they had to announce that their son has passed away during childbirth. This was a sad moment for the whole sports community, with the whole community giving them their condolences. The day later, Cristiano Ronaldo's team, Manchester United, faced their rivals Liverpool in a very important match for the Red Devils, since they needed this victory to secure fourth spot in the Premier League and qualify to the Champions League. Manchester United and Liverpool is one of the Premier League's oldest rivalries, aging back since the beginning of the Premier League. In other huge rivalries, we have seen that fans have been hostile to opposing players, calling them names and booing them, but this was not the case. Liverpool fans and players were respectful to Ronaldo and Manchester United throughout the whole process, postponing their rivalry to support Ronaldo during these games. First, Liverpool fans and players planned an event that would occur during the game to show respect for Ronaldo and his family. During the 7th minute of the game, they applauded him. In addition, instead of cheering for their own players to push them and keep moving forward, they cheered for Ronaldo throughout the whole game. They chanted, "You will never walk alone," which is Liverpool's signature chant. Hence, the fans and players went out of their own way to support Ronaldo during these times, even though they knew it could impact their chance of winning, and applauding and cheering for Ronaldo can minimize their momentum. Ronaldo thanked the fans for this when he knew it was not their responsibility to do so, and should have been booed. This shows the strength of the sports community when they come together as they put aside their rivalries and make a difference. This story clearly shows how sports culture can be a force for good conduct and can influence social norms towards an ethical pathway. On the other hand, there can be some toxic behavior in sports. One example of this is during the Euro 2020 finals, where England faced against Italy. The match was a close one between the two rivals, where England scored early on and Italy scored near the end. The game eventually went to a penalty shootout, and England needed this victory, as they have been disappointing in the past international tournaments, and their fans have been overly critical of their performances in the past. Hence, this penalty shootout was very important for England. Ultimately, England lost a penalty shootout, missing 3 penalties. But guess what? All 3 penalties were missed by black players. This then resulted to racist tweets by England fans and fans around the world in Twitter and in the stands. These players took a lot of abuse for a simple mistake. Fans took out their aggression on the players, which is not the right way to react. In addition, black fans were beaten up outside the stadium. Another example of racist comments in soccer was a friendly match of England versus Hungary. Players Raheem Sterling and Jude Bellingham were called racial slurs after they beat Hungary. From these 2 examples, we can clearly see that sports culture can go beyond the boundaries of the arena and into our lives. Professional sports culture is an influential force that impacts the way we interact with one another. We can clearly see that sports gives us a glimpse into human behavior. When in our societies at large, individuals can go out of their way to help people. On the other side of the coin, we encounter horrible actions such as abuse, racism, and corruption. One should not view sports simply as a hobby or entertainment, but rather as a social force that can guide us towards moral ideals. Thank you.